Hey, welcome everyone to Sports Guys Iowa, another edition of our podcast. I'm Ghost. I've got Jay and JD here with us. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do our Week 5 pick'ems, and we'll do a little bit of a recap from Week 4 as well. It was an action-packed Week 4, tough week for the podcast. Us being all Cohawks. Cohawks got whooped up on by the Knights. That was a tough one. William Penn stayed undefeated. Grandview continue to lay the wood, and a huge win for Dordt too. Dordt getting that elusive victory over Northwestern that they've been looking for damn near 2 decades. So a tip of the cap to the defenders, and we're just going to dive right in, fellas. Does that sound good?
Sounds great, Ghost.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So we're just going to start at the top here, and some big lines this week, but we're going to start out with Luther, the Norse, heading down to Waverly. The Knights are 46.5-point favorites. That's a big line. Jay, do you want to start us off? Give us your thoughts.
Yeah, sure thing. If this was the line in the last 5 matchups, Wartburg would have covered 4 out of those 5 between the two of these teams. And also, yeah, Luther's just off to a pretty rough start this season, losing by an average margin of 34.5. So I know we've kind of touched on Wartburg's offense hasn't really shown a whole lot so far this year, but really think this is a good spot for them to lay a crooked number and pad the stats. So I'm going to take Wartburg and the Knights to cover the 46.5.
I think that's great.
Go ahead, JD.
Yeah. This is going to be one of the last matchups between Luther and Wartburg, potentially in football. Luther's going to the Midwest Conference next year, and I don't know if they're ever going to play. And these two are pretty close to each other, right, guys? It's not Decorah and Waverly. Traditionally, they kind of consider themselves rivals. I mean, Wartburg's the big brother, and Luther's been the redheaded stepchild for most of the relationship. But, I think Wartburg is going to pound them on the way out to the Midwest Conference. So I'm taking Wartburg to cover.
No, I definitely see where you guys are coming from. I'm going to go on the flip side. I'm going to say the Norse are going to cover. The Wartburg hater in me is going to say 46.5 is a lot of points. I don't know if they're going to be able to get 46.5. If they're listening, I'm sure they'll be ready to try to prove me wrong. But I think the Norse are going to keep it within the number and, take one last beating, but cover for me.
That's great.
All right.
Yeah. So we'll keep on trucking down another big, 7-possession line. The Beavers are heading down to Cedar Rapids to play the Cohawks. I believe it's homecoming this weekend in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
The line's 48 in favor of the Cohawks. I'll start us out here quick. You know me, we're going with the Cohawks. I think they need a get-right game after, getting whooped up on by the Knights. I did not see that coming. If you'd have told me the Co was only going to score 7 against Wartburg, I'd have told you you're a liar. So for that reason, I think they're going to let it rain on homecoming, and Brady Kelly and company's going to get back on track.
Yep. I would say, I'm going to say the same thing. Co's got to score a lot of points right now. If they lose again, they're out of the playoff hunt. And right now they need to win and win big for really the rankings. And they also need to have Wartburg beat Central this year. And they have to beat Central in the last game of the season to get that second spot. So I really think Co is going to rain points on every team they can for the rest of the year to move up in the rankings.
Yeah, I like you guys' thought process on that. My whole, I guess the contrarian in me would be losing such a slobber knocker of a game against Wartburg like that, where only hang 7 points. Could take a little bit to get back up off the mat. And that's an emotional spot where the Co's riding somewhat high. I guess they've played relatively well all season, but I do think 48's a lot here. The Beavers haven't, when they've stepped up in class, they haven't really fared too well, but I think just solely based off of last week's performance against Wartburg, it might take them a little bit to get right. So I'm going to take the Beavers to cover this game.
I like it. I like your thought process, Jordan. That makes a lot of sense. Wish I could be there at homecoming this weekend, but alas, we got other plans. So we're going to keep on rolling. Another matchup I'd love to go to. I'd love to make that trip down to Oski. I mean, these two teams do not like each other. I know in basketball, whenever I think it's down at William Penn, whenever they make their first basket against Grandview, TP goes down on the court. I don't know if there's anything like that in the football rivalry, but number one Grandview going down to Oski, taking on the Statesmen, 27.5 for the Vikings here. That's a pretty big number between two unbeatens. JD, you want to start us off and give us your thoughts? Old coach down there at Billy P's, your guy. So let's see.
Yeah, I really love that coach. I love his moxie. This was a really tough game because they haven't had a lot of common opponents, but William Penn's on a roll. I think William Penn is going to cover just inside the number, but I think Grandview is just too big. They're going to win by, I think, 24, and William Penn will cover on a late score. I think it's a great game. I hope it's a lot closer than that for the fans, but I just think Grandview's a wagon.
Yeah, I was just kind of box score watching that the Statesmen have a back, Destin Lauren, if I'm pronouncing that correct. He had 5 scores last week, but this week's just going to be a huge test for him as Grandview's allowing less than right around 100 yards a game on the ground. So I just think Grandview's defense is going to be too much for the Statesmen, and it's going to be close to the line's about right. I'm going to guess it's going to be about a 28 to 31 point win for Grandview here.
That's fair. No, you're right. Loring, we wrote about him in the rankings this week. He's averaging 168 yards a game, and he's found the end zone 14 times in 5 outings. So the guy's a unit. But old Johnny Argo, former Assumption Knight, and those Vikings, I think they can contain him to a certain extent. I kind of like a backdoor cover as well with William Penn. They're not going to go down without a fight. They're a gritty bunch. So I'm going to take the Statesmen, keeping within the number here. And, so we'll keep our humming. Man, just the biggest number on the board this week. And you told me it was going to be the Rams with the biggest number. I would have said you're full of it, just to put it mildly. So Cornell at Beloit, -53 for the Rams. I'll start us out. I just don't think there's any way 53. I mean, I think that's just an absurd number. I don't know a whole hell of a lot about Beloit, but I know enough about Cornell that I don't think they got 53 in them. Maybe Coach Ritchie will prove me wrong, but I don't know. What do you guys think, Jordan? You think that's too big, too right enough, too small?
Maybe Vegas knows something here, but I mean, I can't lay 53 with the Rams. So if I can find an offshore book to sprinkle a little bit of the money line for Beloit, I might have to do it. But usually they're not. That is not allowed with the spread that big. But yes, I'll be taking Beloit here to cover.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Hansen ratings. He just does the math, right? He throws it out there. That would never be a line they would put up in Vegas. I think it's interesting here, Ghost. Beloit's the team that Grinnell held to 30 yards of offense.
Oh, right? Jesus. Maybe I'm off then. Holy cow. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Beloit to cover because I'm like with you guys. I don't know if Cornell is going to score 53 points. I do think they're going to win by 6 touchdowns, but man, that's 7.5 touchdowns, guys. That's just too much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a huge number. And I'm pulling up Beloit. Yeah, they're 0-3. They're coming off a bye, I think, which will play their advantage a little bit at home too. The most they've allowed is 24, and that was at Grinnell. So maybe that Beloit defense is stingier than we think. Probably a product of some lesser competition, but 53, way too big. Sorry, Rams. You're not covering. You can take the win though. So we'll keep her moving. We're going to go down to Iowa's favorite Division II team, the Upper Iowa Peacocks. They are down at Missouri S&T this weekend. And gentlemen, did you check out what S&T stood for?
I did not actually. I
there's
saw it was
minors.
in Rollo, Missouri, right? I kind of saw where it was, but no, I don't know what it stands for.
So it's science and technology.
Okay, that makes sense.
Missouri University. I'm just going to call them MUST. Missouri University of Science and Technology. So this is a must-win game, I think, for Upper Iowa. I think they need to keep this train rolling. They got a lot of positive vibes going right now. I think they're going to go down, get another business trip, get it done, and they're going to cover as well.
Ghost, I agree. I think it's a business trip. I think they're rolling. I say go Peacocks. They're going to cover.
Yep, across the board, just kind of looking at both these teams, they're very similarly matched in terms of what they're putting on the field offensively and defensively. So 3.5, yeah, it's going on the road here, but I do think the Peacocks are going to come away with cover here.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna need to bring it. I was looking at their S and musts. We got to stick with that musts. Jake Farrell, their quarterback, had a monster game last week. He threw for 402 and had 3 tutties against Southwest Baptist. So Peacock's going to need to keep him reined in. So, but I think they can do it. So we'll keep going on. 6th game of the week. Here we got on the line another big line, Waldorf at Morningside. And, to put it nicely, guys, Waldorf, they're trying, I think. They just don't have a whole lot going on up there and at Waldorf. 49.5 is that number. I think Morningside they're gonna cover, but I don't think they're gonna make it too ugly, if that makes sense. If you can keep a game, cover 49.5 and have it not be ugly, it's gonna be as pretty as it can be. Morningside's gonna be nice. Call up dogs early.
Yeah, Waldorf's been outscored 224-10 across 5 contests this year, so hasn't been much success going on for those guys, and I don't anticipate them having much success again this Saturday. So I'll take Morningside by at least 50.
Yep. I'll join Jordan. Waldorf has moved up in class. They haven't been a D2 team for very long. They went from a JUCO to a D2. Mm-hmm. They're trying to compete. I think they're doing a better job recruiting in Iowa around their location up in Forest City. So I'm hopeful that they'll get things going, but it's going to take them a number of years. So I'll take the Mustangs to cover.
Yeah. No, they're it's a work in progress for Treetown, but I think it was just 2 years ago they were 500, I want to say. So hopefully sooner rather than later they can have some success.
Yeah, they moved up to the big boy Division II class, right? And they moved conferences, and it's been rough since then.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, we'll keep her moving. We're going to go to the FCS non-Scully school that we got here, the Bulldogs. Valparaiso. Jordan, I'll buy you a beer if you can spell Valparaiso next time I see you, if you want to just try to lay that out. JD, I do that to you too.
Yeah.
No chance. BLPO, that's it.
JD, you want to start us off here with this line? It's the Bulldogs minus 23.5.
Yep. I haven't had a chance to listen to the Drake podcast this week where Coach Woodley, he's on right now the same time we are. He's talking about whether that quarterback is back. Sounds like he might be. Because of that, and we saw him play live, Ghost, I'm taking Drake. It's Parents' Weekend. They don't have homecoming, but it's Parents' Weekend. And I think because of that, they're going to win and cover by, I think they're win 28+.
Yeah. Jay, what do you think, sir?
Yeah, that's just seeing after, Drake's gauntlet for him for a start to this season, having that bye week, a little get right spot for them. I think they can have some success here and lay a crooked number. So I'm taking Drake to cover.
No, I love that. I think they're going to cover too. You were talking Spellman, JD, and that fella came from Tennessee State. And Eddie George knows football. I mean, Eddie George is probably the reason I love football. So if he's good enough to recruit him down to Tennessee State, he's good enough for me to cover 23.5 against Valpo, however the hell you spell Valparaiso all the way out. I think, is it just Valpo and then Raiso?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna have.
There's
to
an I in there somewhere.
That one. There's an I in there. There's another A in there. It's the type of word that they use to trip up the kids in the National Spelling Bee.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's something like that. It's a brain buster, and I think it's designed to make people feel stupid. So, and for that reason, we are done with our latest segment, Spelling Bee. So we're done with Spelling Bee. And we're going to head right on into the last game here, guys. Culver Stockton at Graceland, 14.5. I don't know. I was thinking maybe it'd be about 12, like John Stockton. But nevertheless, the Yellow Jackets get 14.5. They had a bit of a surprising loss last week against Clark. But it is homecoming down there in Graceland, down in Lamoni, not down in Memphis. JD, what are your thoughts with this one, my friend?
I think Graceland is mad, bunch of angry Yellow Jackets. I think they win and they cover.
I was looking at the common opponent. They both played Billy Woods, and Graceland went for 603 against him with 370 on the ground, while Culver Stockton only had 13 rushing yards. So I thought that was quite a discrepancy there. So I'm just going to take Graceland. I love a team to cover, or I love a team with a good rushing offense to get out and cover. I mean, Culver Stockton's been all right on the ground after that, but 13 on the ground, that's just, really odd. Had to be a typo.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think if Graceland wants to win, they're going to have to establish the run. We're not going to pretend to be Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport here. We don't know the status of CJ Brooks. I guess I haven't seen it. Graceland's quarterback. He got hurt in the second quarter of that last game, and they just could not figure it out after that. And just reading the recap on Graceland's website, Phil Staubach pissed. He was not happy about how things went down against Clark. I think you might want to, double that bet. I think, it could be 20-29, Graceland. I think they're going to come out fired up. The 100th homecoming in Lamoni. So it's a big weekend,
awesome.
and they're going to win big. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, fellas, I mean, we wrapped up 8 games there quick. Some bigger lines again. I suppose that's to be expected after some tighter lines, some really big games last week, not only in just Division III, but NAIA as well. So some more shakeups. I'm interested to see how this weekend shakes up. That one, I think, obviously, the one that we're looking at the most, Grandview at William Penn, big rivalry is Benavidez boys. Are they for real? Can they keep that train rolling down there in Oskaloosa? So
we're gonna find out. Hey, Ghost, before as we wrap up, one thing I want to share is we're gonna start to share our standings, how we're doing in terms of pick'ems. When we publish this, us 3 guys do the podcast. We got 4 other guys making picks. Right now, Rose leads in percentage for the years, guys. But I want to give a shout out to Ghost. Last week we picked 7 games, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost had 5 right. So
that's profitable.
I mean, that's like almost being on Big Noon as the betting guy or on game day. 5 out of 7. Not a bad weekend, Ghost.
No, it's not. And JD, I'm in the business. I'm what folks refer to as a sharp bettor. If you look at my FanDuel account, I've hit my last 4 bets. JD, J. Cole was in my group chat today, and tell him what happened, Jordan.
Yeah, he had a feel. Indians, it was a vibes play. I was too emotionally invested in the Cubs not learning how to hit the damn ball today. So I did not want to be invested in another game. And what do you know? Ghost pops another winner.
All right.
Hey, they forgot how to hit until the 8th inning. I mean, they homered on the second at bat of the game. It was 1-1 heading the bottom of the 8th, and they rattled off 5 runs. So it was a bit of a sweat for myself.
Impressive.
But the wife's pretty impressed. I profited $12.20 today. So
I love it. Well, hey guys, great show. Really looking forward to next week.